Next up on the list, we got Quadratic Diplomacy in the form of a question. Quadratic Diplomacy for internal payouts. Who needs it? I don't know what voice I'm supposed to read that question in. But Hans, I think you'll be.
Was that me?
I don't know.
I think I just put it out there that I think we're refocusing Quadratic Diplomacy to, like, we are our own product market fit, so we should figure out how we need to use it, and let's build the product out to continue in that direction. Sounds like Hans has some stuff here. I think I put that in there, but maybe this was Hans. I don't even remember 10 minutes ago, but I'm going to hand it off to Hans.
Yo. Yeah, so Quadratic Diplomacy is on mainnet. We can distribute DTC. Really like those. Speaking of tip party though, like really like those changes for like the wallet stuff. We're going to be implementing that in QD for sure. Yeah, I don't know if you guys want to like run through a round. I might have the ETH for that. It's kind of expensive. I was just working on deploying it to Polygon and also XDAI as well, but that's not quite ready.
Right now the votes live on Ceramic. That's correct?
That's right. Yeah. So the team really did a great job putting on Ceramic, Hux and Ankit and Swap and Demu and pretty much everybody that helped contribute. So voting's cheap. It costs nothing. Creating an election does cost gas money, and I think paying out, of course, costs gas. But for the individual candidates, the voters, in other words, totally free. You just need to create a Ceramic ID if you don't have one. So I guess we could run through like an election. I've never done one of this size, so I don't know if I'm going to have the ETH for the gas, but we can try it out.
Might not be worth a mainnet, like if we're going to do mainnet stuff. Yeah. One question I had. So there's actually 3 or 4 forks of this QD kind of floating around, and Damu and I have been tinkering with one for the Build Guild. And one thing we needed to do was separate the 2 lists. We ended up coming up with having a list of people that are voting and having a list of people who are being voted on. Are those 2 separate lists in any of the other Quadratic Diplomacies, or has that been a need?
Yeah, that's on the back burner for sure. Now that we're going to continue development with it, that'll definitely be implemented.
It was just like, yeah, there's a project and like 5 people worked on it, and then we have 20 people in the call, and now we have this list of 20 people that are all getting voted on, and really we only want the 5 people. Yeah,
right.
Just wondering if that was something you guys had worked on. So then I've been thinking about, once we hold a QD round for the Build Guild and we fund, I think I'll do the round for Quadratic Diplomacy. Like, whoever created this thing, like, we want to fund them. It's going to trickle down. Like, I feel like it started with Carlos, and then it was handed off to like the code itself has gone through multiple different developers. The idea came from different places. So it will be fun to sit down and do a QD on the Build Guild side to give back on a milestone of like whoever created all this QD stuff. So the Build Guild thanks the Moonshot, even though it's kind of like one pocket and the other here, but that's the Venn diagram, and I'm excited to use it over there on the Build Guild side.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty awesome tool. I'm pretty excited to continue working on it.
Yeah, and I know that the other work streams and squads at MMN and FTD are also super excited to use it. And I'd be interested, after all this development and all these features coming in and out, if we ran a Git blame session, who would accrue the most blame for the code? we can do that as a side video while people are voting.
I was judging a hackathon project. I think it was this week. I don't know where it was, but basically, as the guy's presenting, he's like, Austin, you're actually the biggest contributor on our repo because they forked like an early scaffold ETH or something like that. So it's funny to see that like history of contributions and all the folks that like made it possible. Total tangent. One thing I'm noticing here is maybe scaffold ETH is actually this like network selector idea it may be a starter kit for deploying an EVM compatible app across multiple networks and being able to switch between that and have those error messages. So I think there's a couple Scaffold ETH folks on the call that like just want to plant that seed that this seems to be an interesting use case that is usable for folks.